Good morning, family. I have an important topic I wanted to discuss. Since we're in the age of Aquarius, it's about change. And one thing that's never changed in human history is is man. But man has always had to be the one to sacrifice his life and to have limitations and to be stuck in a corner when the world has always been free, and women as well in some ways. And so this is just a topic of intrigue to discuss and to think about. You know, they say it's selfish for a man to want fame or, to be the most important one, or, oh, if he's the boss of the family, then yeah, he's the boss. He's the boss. He's got to answer to the little old misses, and if he's the head of anything, then he's the littlest guy. But he makes the most money to hold it down, right? Right. And but women are never seen as selfish. Not really. The only ones that are seen as bad are the ones that sleep around. But the weird thing is, there'll always be another man. They'll be like, well, you're married, and you had sex with this guy earlier today. And why not? Ain't that strange? And they're the bad ones. So there's a huge gap there. And a woman can have multiple kids, and she can decide to marry, but then break that marriage proposal, and then go get another guy and have more kids. But those kids all belong to her. That's her property. That's not very good. Which is why everyone's held under the system as separate and together, divine and property, and have choices, but it's up to the law, it's up to God, it's up to how things work out. So, and in a marriage, any two people can make a marriage perfect, and I've never disagreed with that. I still do not. This is why it's just a topic of discussion. But why is it a man can't have multiple wives when one of the things that's amazing about sex is it being different? And every morning, every day, we even feel different in our own goddamn bodies. In some places, it's allowed to have multiple wives. And there's benefits to having multiple wives. There's benefits to having multiple positions. And anyone that gets pigeonholed in a marriage, in a job, in anything, quicker and quicker becomes obsolete, whether it's to their wife or to their job or etc. And so in the age of Aquarius, where it's water on water or two waters on two waters, and how do you calibrate that scale if there's different ways to read it, and water is all and water is none to begin with. Like, for instance, how one woman can be a tarot reader and inspire thousands of people and just be content not sharing her own body with the world or having anybody, just picking and choosing out of her flock. Oh, this one has a connection with me. Maybe I'll invite him over and see. But a man doesn't have that kind of option unless he's a star. He has to have $1 million or more, and then he can sleep with whoever he wants to, or, he can buy hookers, or if he's a regular guy. And so there's this division line that is kind of troubling that I see in society that needs to be balanced out, like how A woman can promise to marriage and then after 2 years say she's bored with her husband because he's the same. But my kids, even if they're the same, well, I love them each just the same. But I have a favorite and a not, for different things or whatever. And these options aren't available to a man. That's troubling. So how can humanity keep growing? Is where it comes down to. Like the very basis. How can humanity keep growing if it keeps getting more and more closed off? And we live in a country of freedom, but everyone takes their freedom and puts it in a little tiny box and says, "Look, I'm free because I'm about the NRA. Yeah, my freedom is shooting guns. I got all these guns, but it's just about guns. It's just about going to the range. It's just about doing one thing, one thing, one thing, one thing. Oh, look, I'm a Christian. Okay, that's your choice. Okay, well then what about all the other religions? What about all the other philosophies? And you just pick one book. That's a limitation that slowly drags you to the grave as well. That overnight you can have a revelation and realize, oh my God, maybe I should have gone the other way. But I was too afraid. I wanted to pick the one thing. I wanted to be the right one. Rather than pick all of them and pick none of them and let life evolve. How do we bridge this gap? It's extremely important for every individual and for the whole of humanity to be like, oh, well, I got my phone so that I'm never alone. But then you play the same game on it every day. Or when you give messages, there always a certain kind of message. Or when you pick music, it's only one kind of music or a couple kinds of music. Or you like all music, but, I don't know if you see what I'm saying. This is the era where limitations need to dissolve. If you could pin anything down to an exact, then at that point, they say that once something's a fact, it's dead. The 2 plus 2, okay. Yeah. It just happens by itself. 2 plus 2, 2 plus 2, whatever, 2 plus 2. It's always 2 plus 2. But then you go into theory. Well, how do we get to 2? What's 0? If 0 is this, and 1's this, and that's all that there is, and how is there 2? Is 2 an action, or is 2 really 3? Or is 2 what's going on between the 2? Of nothing and something? Or is there the nothing in between, and there's something and something, but those are both 1s? And so are those the 2, or is the 2 going on in between? Or is 2 the act of 0 going and somehow becoming a 1? And so on and so forth. So that's my topic of my Thanksgiving discussion today. And it's about breaking down the limitations of man. One of the main things that women end up doing after they have their spiritual revelation, they push away men. They hide themselves in the corner with their children. And the children break down because they don't have a man around. Whether he's a good man, a bad man, a strong man, a weak man, they need a man around. And a man needs his children around. Whether they're slow, whether they're into video games, whether they're computer scientists, whether they want to be gay or be in the choir or whatever. A man needs this. We need variety in our lives. I mean, for instance, with tarot. Oh, I'm tired of this deck. I'll just go buy another one. It's like a woman collecting shoes. Yeah, but it's all one thing. It's like a man collecting guns. Okay, but it's all one thing. Sure, you can pull out a different one each day, but it's the same thing. That ends up coming down to being a waste. If it's always the same thing, that's a limitation. That's draining on life and heading it toward death. Only something that continually evolves can continually grow. And that's why mankind has been pushed against itself and divided and divided and divided and then coalesced and then divided and divided and divided and coalesced and divided and divided and coalesced. And then, oh, okay, well, now we have this melting pot. Hey, everybody can be whatever they want. And then what do you find? You look outside, and it's like everybody's a robot. How fucking weird is that? But everyone's different. But you walk down the street and you ask 10 people like how their day is, and they probably got the same kind of thing to say. And what do they do for a living? Well, even if they all do different things, they just get up to do that one thing. Like everybody's a machine, a cardboard cutout of their real self. Where in 5 minutes I could be listening to I could be dancing to Britney Spears. I could be, then 5 minutes after that, I could be reading Marcus Aurelius. And 5 minutes after that, I can be making beds. And 5 minutes after that, I could be picking up cigarette butts outside and running into somebody from another country that teaches me something that I never known in my life. 5 minutes after that, I might not have a ride home. I might have to walk home. But if I had a car, it'd always be the same. And that's what I find amazing, is that life can change and change and change and change. And we retain all that. It doesn't change, but it changes. But the weird thing is how everyone seems to do that in the reverse, where they're always changing, but nothing ever changes. And their past stays exactly the same. It doesn't evolve, it doesn't change, unless it's to all of a sudden be like, oh, nope, I don't do that. I don't do that anymore. I gave it up. I quit. Okay. And what did you carry on with you? Oh, the things that make me feel proud about myself. Only that. But when I was proud of the bad things, and that, I was proud of that. But then I changed. I gave it up. So now, no, I don't know anything about that. I won't talk about it. What the fuck? What good is experience? If it's about trapping ourselves and to corner every conversation as a limitation, where everybody's stuck in a box on the other side, you can't talk to them, and putting on a mask, and about hiding the past or arranging it to look a certain way. Mankind has to keep evolving by taking everything that there has ever been and making more and making more and evolving it. Otherwise, the stupidest thing I've ever heard of. But it makes weird sense. Weird sense is how the Bible is for Christians, right? And so they only need one book. But then you have Christian bookstores. So then you go there and get more Bibles? The Bible's free. You can get one in a hotel room for free. You're just asking me to go see it, check out a room and see if you like it. And then ask to be left alone a minute and walk out with a Bible, and they don't care. They got it for free too. You go to any, but then you go in there, there's all these different books of everyone's accounts, But where's your account too? And why does it just have to be about Jesus and about Christianity and about one thing? When all these other religions, they don't talk about that, but they seem the same fucking guy. They just interpret it a different way. So, I want everybody to have a happy Thanksgiving. And think about that. It's really important for life on earth. I swear to God.